It's a wonderful honor to be up here, and thanks McCaig Institute for inviting me up here and giving me the chance to tell my story. The 11-year-old me that jumped on the sled and wasn't scared at going 60 kilometers an hour would have been caught dead up on this stage and wouldn't have thought that I could even get up here today. So I'm truly grateful for that, and I'm grateful for every day, and I can't wait to share all the experiences that I've had in sport and in my life with you. Professional sport probably felt natural to me as I was born 13 weeks premature, and I was born at 2 pounds 1 ounce, dropping down to 1 pound 7 ounces the next day. So I was very lucky to have a very amazing team around me of doctors, nurses, and my family to help guide me through that. And as I went through life, my innate drive to survive and the support that I gained along this journey called life, I was able to become the person I am today. And the person I am today is someone who loves the great outdoors, so loves skiing, mountain biking, just having fun rock climbing, and being a former high-performance athlete, an Olympian, and now I can say happily, even though I'm in midterms right now, a second-year nursing student. So during my 16 years of being a slider, I was on the senior national team for 8 years, and 8 years on the junior national team and development team. During both of these chapters in luge, I obtained many bumps and bruises, some whiplash, some rolled ankles, a few injuries here and there, but the most influential one was to my spine. I got a spondylolisthesis on my L4 vertebrae sometime in the summer of 2011 to February 2012. We're not quite sure when. And for those of you who don't know, a spondylolisthesis is a type of stress fracture on a vertebrae. It's where the bone doesn't fully break the whole way through, but it has a partial crack. Mine happened likely due to the start and the mechanics of our sport. And in that 8-month period, I don't know when it happened, but it was when I was transitioning from going from that junior level athlete to a senior level athlete. So I wasn't gonna complain that I was a little bit sore. I saw the physio here and there, but I wasn't gonna admit that I was in pain. So the start, I bet you guys are wondering what that is. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. So the start in luge is where we fold ourselves completely in half. So as you can see in the top, oh, I'm sorry. There we go. On the top left there, top right, it would be for you guys? Left? Okay, good. I guess I should get those straight sooner rather than later. But yeah, so we're folding ourselves completely in half and pushing all the way back. So we're having that extreme flexion. As we come out on the start, we're pulling up to a 90-degree angle with our back. So we have the sheer force going through our spine at that point. And we're pulling ourselves forward. We then reach forward with our hands, which have the spikes, as you can see in the bottom there, and we grab onto the ice and pull through as hard as we can. So again, we're sitting in that flex position after the extreme extension. So imagine doing this over and over again to obtain the perfect start, to have the most strength that you can have, to pull the fastest starts in the world. This is what I did the whole summer of 2011 and continued doing into the winter season. That winter, I had an outstanding first year on the World Cup circuit with multiple top 10 results, which was unusual for a first-timer on the senior national team. Usually you're lucky to maybe qualify for your first World Cup, but I surprised myself and I did better. I was having the time of my life and I was doing amazing and realizing that all my hard work was paying off. Unfortunately, a week before my senior world championships was supposed to take place, I was pulling starts and all of a sudden I couldn't move. I couldn't get off my sled at the finish of the ramp. Luckily, it was a start ramp and not going down the track. So I came up to the top, tears streaming down my face. My teammates lift me off my sled and put me down, like I can't move. I go home, I go back to the hotel. A week later, I'm sent home from Europe. I don't get to go to World Champs. It was also 2 weeks before the Junior World Championships, which would have been my last Junior World Championships, and I was set to win a medal. So from that moment of coming home, I was sent for a bone scan. I met with my physios and everybody, and they sent me for a bone scan, and they found I had my spondylolisthesis. From that moment, my rehab started. The first step for me was creating a team around me that was communicating. I had coaches in Europe that were still training and coaching the team through that I had to communicate with. I had to communicate with my doctors and my physios and my trainers to figure out the best plan for me, because here I was going to be off for the next few months for sure. So I sat down with the doctors and I told them, I can't sit still. I can't stop moving. So you're telling me that I'm supposed to rest for a month, and I can't do that? So what they did is they decided, hey, swimming, that's a low impact sport. I could do that. So half an hour a day I would go swimming, and they would just kind of set me up. And this was the best thing that they could have done, because it focused on my mental side. So I was able to kind of distract my mind for the fact that I was injured, as well as keep some of my strength from training. So after this little rest time that I had, I was sent home. Well, I came home. I was visiting my family at that time. But I came home, and I did a bunch of Pilates with my trainers every day with a mix of basic movement exercises. And we only increased the amount that we were doing by 10 to 20% per week. And it was the most frustrating time because I wanted to do more. I'm an overachiever. I always have been. And I want to do more and more and more. So what I created was a little mantra that said, the physios know best, so listen to them. And I said this every single day. So after following this strict rehab routine for about 5 months, I was able to join my team again part-time. And over the next while, I was slowly getting better. Within 10 months after my injury, I returned to the team full-time, and I was completely healed. I wasn't out of the woods yet, though, because every time I had a small ache or pain to my low back, I thought I'd re-injured myself. There was one time in particular where this happened, and I can remember it clearly. I had the pre-race jitters, and I couldn't sleep the night before my first World Cup. Okay, it's fine. I don't sleep normally before a World Cup race. But this time I woke up achy. My back hurt again. It was fine all week, and I woke up, and I was in pain. 2 hours later, I got to the track, and by then I was in tears. I cry a lot, so this isn't quite unusual, but I had tears in my eyes, and I was crying at the top of the track. The physio literally comes running up the track, because they're like, what's wrong? He checks me out. He checks out my low back. He's like, no, you're 100%, just as I saw you yesterday. You're fine. And in this moment, I realized that the mind can be your own worst enemy. That your mind means well in protecting the areas that you've hurt before, but you need to shed those layers once you've fully healed and really step out and start experiencing things again. So over the next years and years to come, I wasn't without minor flare-ups of my L4, L5 junction, but the trainers and physios modified my programs, and I was able to go from a top 10 finisher to a top 6 finisher consistently. And I was able to become the second ever Canadian to win a World Cup medal for luge a week out from the Sochi Olympics, where, as Lisa told you, I ended up 5th. It was really incredible. And so over the next few years following Sochi, I wanted that Olympic medal. Luge had never won an Olympic medal. So I really wanted that, and I was pushing it for it. I had multiple World Cup medals. I had a World Championship medal leading in 2017 before the year before the Olympics, and that's when it made it that much harder in October of 2017 when I had another back injury. This time, I sprained the disc between L4 and L5. So we were heading into the World Cup season. We were in Pyeongchang just doing training, and I'd sprained my back. For the next 5 World Cups, I had to qualify for the Olympics still, so that's what I did by pulling half starts. I would only pull half the amount that I normally would, and I somehow made it. So over Christmas, my back had fully healed from my disc injury. So I was like, hey, I'm ready. I've done all the physio, I'm good. I'm gonna push it again. So here I am in the gym, I'm pushing it. Re-injure my back again for the 3rd time. And this time I had inflammation between the joint of L4 and L5. So where my spondy was, I actually had inflamed it again. So this is January, 2 months out from the games. At this point, I'd qualified for myself for the Olympics, And I was at the pinnacle of my career. I knew that I might not continue sliding due to applying for school the next year, and I wanted to get to those Olympics. What made all of this constant injury bearable was my mental attitude. I was staying focused. I was doing what the physios told me, even though sometimes I didn't want to, like missing a World Cup. And I remember calling home and talking to my parents and my boyfriend, saying I may not make it to the Olympics. Sometimes I didn't even say it. Sometimes I was just thinking it, and they could hear it in my voice. I was 3 weeks out. As soon as I got off the phone, I was like, well, I'm in Europe. It would take longer to get home. And so I would shake my head and be like, no, if I can make it through another day, if I can just get through another day, I can get through a week and a couple more weeks, and the Olympics are there. So in the end, at Pyeongchang, apparently I'm supposed to change the photo. In the end, at Pyeongchang, with a positive mind and the daily, weekly goals, I finished 5th again. But with that, some people are like, oh, you're so sad, you didn't make the medals like you were planning. But no, I had 4 personal best start times, so I pulled the fastest starts I've pulled in years. And then I also had 4 of the most amazing runs I could ever ask for. They were as close to perfection as that I've ever had. And let me tell you, going 140 kilometers an hour down a track, it is hard to have a perfect run. So today, almost 2 years out of that amazing day, I'm no longer competing. I'm going to school, I'm going to MRU and taking nursing. And there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about my luge career, the family that it had, and the impact it had on my life. I also think about the injuries and things that have happened to me. So with my back injuries, they're constantly tested. Every day I'm in hospital with clinical and moving patients. They're tested when I go outside or I'm rock climbing. Recently, it was very hard to get in certain positions because my back was sore, but I still do these things. And sitting at a desk all day studying is the worst. But chronic injuries may never go away. And if you're able to build a team around you that includes one of the above or all the above and you like them, your physios, your doctors, psychologists, and family members that all listen to what you have to say and work for you to get better and support you, you'll recover faster and you'll get the support you need. I had my team around me through all my injuries, and I personally believe that the McCaig Institute is a team that can make a world of difference. Their research is incredible. And while taking a tour last week with Lisa, I found it incredible. They had 200 samples of blood showing up to their lab every day, and they're looking for biomarkers in links to certain diseases. They also have a lab that they crush things in, I believe. It's pretty cool, and I really want to, but they're seeing the force that it takes to break a bone. And I would really love to see how much force that I had to put through my spine in order for it to break. That aside, McCaig Institute is really incredible, and I can't wait to see the research that comes out of there. And if you can take one thing from my experience as an Olympian and a high-performance athlete is, you have to listen to your body when it starts to yell at you and tells you to stop, which I didn't do the whole time, but you have to try and listen to it, but you also have to forgive it once it does break down. And to quote Oprah Winfrey, forgiveness is giving up hope that the past will change. Thus, you must forgive your body for its inability to keep up with the strains of life. Thank you.